Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. We got another message from the Joker today. We got Gavin Newsome. If you didn't see it last week, signed an emergency piece of legislation going into effect immediately. This is on advertising firearms to minors. Let's go ahead and roll it.
To members of the United States Supreme Court, to right-wing Republicans all across this country, do you have no common decency, respect, or even common understanding that kids should not have one of these? This is an AR-15. This is a weapon of war, a weapon of mass destruction, but you're out there promoting and allowing marketing of these weapons of war to our kids, supporting and celebrating gun manufacturers who put up advertisements like the ones you see behind me. These are cartoon skulls with pacifiers in them. His and her pacifiers, cartoon skulls of children with pacifiers. This is what the right wing is marketing and promoting at the behest of the gun industry in this country. The good news, if there's any, is that this ends at least today in California. I just signed a bill so the gun industry and those that are backing this industry can no longer market to our children. The idea we even have to do this is ridiculous. This law, by the way, goes in effect immediately because decent human beings, people with common sense, know that we should not be allowing this kind of disgusting marketing to go on another day.
Okay, so like I said before, if you missed it, what this is really referring to is a piece of legislation that Gavin Newsome signed, but it went a little bit further than a skull and crossbones advertisement. First of all, I think it's also worth noting the identity politics here. If you are a Democrat in California, say you even voted for Gavin Newsome, you should maybe consider that he just called you a right-wing Republican. These people think that there is only a small fraction of Californians who own firearms. It's just not the truth. So you can already see where he is placing you, and it's also interesting to see that he seems to be coming from a place of compassion, right? Doesn't even know why he needs to be doing this. Well, last time I checked, we had a free country. That free country enabled manufacturers or retailers to promote their products, and these are their products. And guess what? You can find advertisements like this all over the United States, and it doesn't necessarily lead to harm. But let's actually look at the piece of legislation because it goes far and beyond a skull and crossbones. So if we can pull up AB 1571 here, there is a small section that you need to understand affects a lot more than just any marketing campaigns, and it's right here. Number 4, subset B, subset II, advertises events where firearms-related products are sold or used. Can you think of anything that might be affected by that? Well, if you're in the Boy Scouts and you partner with organizations to hold an event where you can get merit badges, that might be affected by that. See, what this actually is an attempt, like Gavin Newsome told us he was going to do at the very beginning, to end the culture. They understand that if you take the ability to communicate these things to the next generation, they're not going to carry on. This is a very contradictory piece of legislation because it basically tells us that kids shouldn't have the ability to make their own decisions when we give them the ability to make totally more drastic decisions elsewhere in their life. If you don't believe me, just look at this right here. So again, Assembly Bill 1871 tells us this. The legislature hereby finds and declares that the proliferation of firearms to and among minors poses a threat to the health, safety, and community of all residents and visitors in California. Why is that? Why does the proliferation of firearms amongst minors actually pose this threat? Well, they tell us right here. The weapons are especially dangerous in the hands of minors because current research and scientific evidence shows that minors are impulsive, more likely to engage in risky and reckless behavior, unduly influenced by peer pressure, motivated more by rewards than costs or negative consequences, less likely to consider future consequences of their actions and decisions, and less able to control themselves in emotionally arousing situations. I can't say those things are necessarily untrue. The only problem is, why is firearms the only time you're applying this standard? If you actually take a look into the firearms community and see how safety is one of the top priorities, if not the top priority of all firearms safety and training, hunters education, safety and training, you'll understand that minors do lack some of the mental capacity of adults. That's why there's such a high rate of safety being taught to kids. That's why we require instructors at these events, most times one-on-one. However, you look into other parts of California law and you just really don't get the same story. So here's another bill that got passed in 2021 on a different topic, albeit, but it's worth investigating. Let's take a look at this. So you've got Assembly Bill 1184. This was a bill that was passed last year and actually came into effect July of this year, so just about a week ago. And this is a bill that prohibits insurance companies from revealing to the policyholder sensitive services of anyone on that policy. So what does that actually mean? That means that you can have a child on your policy that's getting sensitive services. Sensitive services could include abortion. It could include sexual assault treatment. It could include hormone therapy. These are things that affect somebody's life, their entire life. These are drastic decisions. And when you get the bill next to sensitive services, you're going to see a definition of nothing. So why is it that a 13-year-old can walk into a medical facility, make a life-altering decision when we can clearly see in the text of this firearms bill that children are unable to make those decisions, that they're more prone to irrational thought? Do you see the contradiction here? These contradictions only exist in a scenario where an individual is looking to uphold an ideology. Gavin Newsome has no compassion for children. He has no compassion for Californians. He is looking to push an ideology that drives our freedoms away from us. Now, I can tell you that CRPA has filed a temporary restraining order on this new piece of legislation. We filed a lawsuit along with that temporary restraining order. If you want information on all that, you can go ahead and visit the link down below. It's time to take action, though, and it's time to talk to our neighbors and let them know Gavin Newsome and the party in control of these restrictive laws don't actually have compassion for us Californians. They're seeking power and power only.